Hey everyone, welcome back to Wholly Devoted. Today we are talking about the topic of complaining and how to set a guard over our mouths. Before we start, we want to thank Teen Missions, our sponsor, who send teenagers on mission trips. They also have leaders, so if you're an adult and you're also considering going on a mission trip, or you want to be a leader and work with teens, then you should check us out at teenmissions.org. That's again, mission trips for teenagers, and we also have leader positions for adults, so check us out.
Nice. Well done, Ellie. All right, Faith. Everyone's going to wonder. Give them the down low, 30-second version, and then we'll get on to the fun question.
I feel like social distancing is back. I'm like so far away from everyone, but it's okay. Here's what happened. Our Bible school
Girl, talk to the microphone.
Sorry. Our Bible school. I started whispering. I don't know why I felt weird. Our Bible school class had our senior skip day this past Thursday, which was just a few days ago. And we went to a beach in Jacksonville, Big Talbot Island, if any of you are locals. So fun. It was a great time. There's like some weird clay sand stuff that's on top. Very slippery. So, getting out of the ocean, slipped on the clay stuff and somehow managed to cut the top of my foot on an oyster.
The island bit back.
The island bit back. I still don't understand how that happened, because like the whole top of my foot is all cut up. So anywho,
Did your foot like slide under the sand and then scrape?
I
pulled
honestly
it out. Oh, she's in pain.
I really don't know what happened. It happened fast, but yeah, got some stitches, 7 to be exact, and now my weird ugly foot is just out on camera. So
I love the like mini boot. It's like a sandal boot.
I know.
It's like a little foot boot.
New boot goofing.
New boot.
So anyways, sorry that it's there.
Boots
I thought
get
about like
boogie.
putting a blanket or something over it.
That like
and
made it more mysterious. Like,
It was
does she
more
have
weird.
a foot?
yeah, it just made it more weird. So it's just gonna be there. So yeah, sorry.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
All right. Fun question. If you could start a business, what would you sell, make, or do? Isn't that a fun one?
That's so good.
Well done, Ellie.
I should have thought about my answer.
Yeah, because we both immediately looked at you like, let's hear it.
All right. Could it be like coffee and cute mugs?
Yeah?
I would sell
Coffee
coffee, but
shop?
also cute mugs. Because I
Yeah.
don't know. Like that's, look, I have a whole little coffee area in my house, and it's like my favorite part of the morning. Second favorite part of the morning.
Jesus first.
First favorite,
Mm.
Divas. Second favorite, coffee.
Sorry, Tim.
Also
favorite
seeing her
Tim.
husband. Yeah.
I mean, second favorite Tim, third favorite coffee. Ding.
Okay, there you go.
Hmm.
Do you need more time to think?
Yes.
Mine's so obvious and easy. I would start I would do photography full time.
Oh,
Like I already
girl.
do it on the side. Like I'm a top chef photography. So yeah, I would just go full time with that.
That really didn't buy me a whole lot of time.
No, it didn't. Sorry.
Sorry, girl.
Or a coffee shop. Or a coffee shop, like you said.
Yeah.
I saw this video of this lady who started a coffee shop, but it's also like a little kid play place library
Oh.
situation.
Oh,
And I
library
think that's,
too.
well, I think they just have like a little reading nook or something with like a bunch of kids' books. And I thought that was the cutest thing ever. Because I remember growing up, we would go to the library during the summers and do, well, before the summer technically, and go and do like all the library events and all the stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, that'd be so fun.
I feel like I know something you would do.
Tell me, because I don't know.
I feel like you would be like one of those sweet daycares in your house.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
Like start your own daycare. You want to talk about how people
Yeah.
do that? Like they
No,
get
I-
certified, but it's in their house.
I had a friend
Yeah.
who did
Yeah, I could see you doing that.
I also don't have this skill. So in that sense, I wouldn't do this because I don't know how. But I love pottery so
Oh,
much.
Okay, I thought of that for you,
that.
but
You
I was
can
like, I
do
don't know if she's.
that.
I've never even tried.
Okay,
I
but
just
it's a
look
fun
videos.
question, no.
I just, yeah. I just like have a weird obsession with it and I don't even know how to do it. But
Yeah.
I think that would be so fun.
Do you watch pottery videos?
Yes, I love
love
them.
them.
I do too.
When they like do the initial at the bottom, like they finish the whole
Yeah.
thing and then they just put like the
Yes.
tiny.
Mm.
I think
It's
that
so
would be
cute.
so fun. And also another way to like bring in, like, can you imagine all
Wait.
the kids coming in to paint pottery
Aw.
or like teaching?
Oh, like
Because then you
kids-
get to
yeah.
teach and be with people and yeah.
So true.
But I don't know how to do it. So
We should
Yeah.
do pottery class. We should go do like pottery painting. Oh,
I've been wanting to do that.
Oh.
I've been talking about it for years.
oh my gosh. We
For
have
years.
to
Stop
go.
flopping the pages around.
I'm so sorry.
The noise.
Faith,
Here,
we're
we'll
gonna
just-
go. We're gonna go.
Cover the
Tuck
foot.
it.
Read the notes,
Anyways,
Oh, that's so funny.
dude.
Now I want to go pottery painting with Faith.
I was going to for my birthday. I don't remember why it didn't happen, but
You know what I want to do? And we
What?
talked about doing it when I got married, but it was
Skydiving?
really expensive. No, I want to go to one of those English tea houses.
Yes!
But they're like $50 or $60 for the
Yeah, bro.
experience per person. And I was like,
I got
I
tea
can't
at
ask my
home.
bridesmaids to do that. Yeah, exactly. I got tea at home. I got china at home. Like, that's not necessary.
But we don't have like the British scones or whatever at home.
But I have the world's most beautiful china.
Oh.
I thought you were gonna say the
I need to have
world's
you
most
guys
beautiful
over.
sourdough starter, and I was like, facts. You
That's
can make
also true.
pastries.
I have really good
You
sourdough.
can make good bread.
What are we titling this?
Complaining.
Don't complain. I don't know what it's called.
Stop being a whiner, baby.
So this episode called "Don't Wait." What did you say? Stop being a whiner, baby. Brought to you by Mrs. Ellie Peterson. We just have a couple different verses on here talking about complaining and controlling the tongue. The first one on here. Oh, okay. She said intro the topic. I'm going to take this as my opportunity right now to publicly
Is this a
repent.
disclaimer?
Yes.
Okay. Kate put like disclaimer, like the double stars on there.
Get the sirens. Like
The police are coming for her
I
and me.
yeah. I just feel like this is going to be the most convicting episode that we've ever done. This is actually something I feel like the Lord has really been talking to me about recently. So I'm just like, ugh, I feel bad even trying to share anything on these verses because I do so poorly in this area.
It's a
But the
growth
audio
edge.
that's like guilty. No,
Yeah,
guilty.
yes.
That's what I feel like.
This is what we would call a growth edge.
Growth edge.
True.
Wow. Way
There
to
you
frame
go.
it positively.
There you go.
Wow, Emily.
Yes, a definite area that that could use some vast growth. So with that being said, we're all in this together. The first verse is Psalm 141:3, which says, "Set a guard, O Lord, over my mouth. Keep watch over the door of my lips." So what does it practically look like to ask God to put a guard over our mouths?
Like the first thing I think of is to just pray to the Lord, like pray to God to say, "Hey, keep a guard over my mouth." Like set a guard, set a watch. Help me to be intentional about what I'm saying. I think we talked about it before, but the acronym where it's like you think before you speak.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Yeah.
true? Is it helpful?
Yeah.
Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind?
Mm.
You go through that list in your mind. Does it take you a while to get through the list? Yeah, it does. It's on purpose. So you can slow down and think about what you're actually saying before it just
Yeah.
blabs out. Look, man.
I'm also just thinking, like, what does a guard do? It watches, reports back, prevents like destruction. I don't know.
Reports back is terrifying. Because even if it's a thought that I didn't say, the Lord knows. Like, he knows what I was about to say and didn't, even if I have the self-control. And it's like, oh, tension of her heart right there, kind of shining through.
Yeah. It makes me think of, okay, this is going to make me sound really nerdy, but me and my husband just watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? So you know when they like set the fire on all the mountains to
Oh,
warn
yeah.
the other people? That's what it makes me think of, like setting a guard,
The
like...
fires of Gondor.
She's so
You a big Lord of the Rings fan?
Yes. Do you not know this?
No. I
Okay.
didn't.
Anyways, I have
I
some.
dig
Of,
it,
I
though.
have some of the swords in my house. Not to
Oh,
brag.
wait,
but
actually? You're like a fan.
not as much as some people, but they're cool.
Do
Okay.
you have like elf ears? Do you actually? You do? Are you actually serious?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my gosh, I was not expecting you to say yes.
No, seriously, I do.
Wow.
I think there were
Mhm.
pictures of you all dressed up and stuff at
Yeah.
the wedding
I've gone to Ren
reception.
fairs, yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I
know,
dress
you
up.
looked,
Dude.
You look super cool.
The
Though.
more you know.
Thank
The more you know. Anyways, I just think of like setting a guard, like it's there protecting you, like they're there to warn against attack and stuff.
Mm.
And so, I don't know, that's just what I was thinking about. But this is a verse that held close to my heart that I ask the Lord. Sometimes in just normal prayer time or in like situations where they're rising up, I'm like, oh, I have some things I could say. But I probably don't come back to it often enough. And that's convicting.
Yeah, this would be a really easy verse to memorize, just to have on. What is that word? When it's like right there whenever you need it, to have it on.
Speed dial.
Stand by.
There we go. Speed dial.
There you go.
That's what I was looking for. I was like, there's a saying that's actually super common that I'm forgetting. But it would be a good verse to have on speed dial memorized to pray, especially in those situations. That's
Mhm.
such a simple solution.
It's like a preventative, I feel like. Like, you
Yeah.
set
Yeah.
a guard to prevent a battle or,
Mhm.
like, you know, to prevent something
Yeah.
from happening. So you got to think about it ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then, like, the Holy Spirit does live inside of you. So, like, God does have a guard there, but you got to listen to the voice.
You gotta
Because there's
listen
been
to
times
that.
where it's like you feel that, like, should you really say that? Like, are you really whining about this right now? And then it's like, yeah, I am. It's
You
like,
push past the guard.
Yeah.
You fight the guard. And
Yeah.
you're like, I'm gonna say it anyway.
Let
And the
me
guard's
throw.
like, don't say it. Don't do it. And you're like, I'm doing it.
yeah.
But yeah, I think even that part where it says like, keep watch over the door of my lips, like, it talks about how your lips are like the doorway, and like good can come out or like bad can come out. And I think
Mhm.
there's a verse that we have in here later that says like, oh yeah, it's Luke 6:45 says, the good person out of the good treasure of his heart produces good, and the evil person out of the evil treasure produces evil. For out of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaks.
That's like you were talking about how, like, sometimes maybe the words don't actually come out, but they wanted to.
Mm.
And it, like, shows, like, a reflection. It's like all of a sudden you're,
Mhm.
like, looking at your own heart, like,
Yeah.
wow. Because most of the time when I complain, it's, like, little tiny things. It really isn't.
Yeah.
It's really not that deep most of the time when I'm complaining. Like, oh, my goodness, I can't believe I just spilled my coffee. It's like, really, in the grand scheme of things, isn't really that big of a deal.
It's really
Like, there's
not
more
that bad.
coffee, but
Yeah, there's more
yeah.
coffee, there's more cream. Just clean it up really quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's also convicting.
Yeah.
I think it made me think about those verses that talk about walking in a manner worthy of the gospel. And like God says that he's put Emma's face, she goes,
No, those verses always get you. Like,
They
worthy
really
of the
do.
gospel, like worthy of Jesus dying on the cross for me.
Bro, none of
it's
us are
so
worthy.
bad.
I
And then
know.
it says, like the other verses, like he put his spirit in you. So if he's living in my heart, and then my heart or my intent or my whatever is wanting to say bad or negative things, then it's like, but didn't he give you a new spirit? That's the old spirit that's trying to say bad things. Like, you're not walking in a manner that's worthy of having him living in your heart. Light can't dwell with darkness. So you need to get that other stuff out of there.
Darkness gone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I think about that a lot. Like, if people will say, like, what if you're the only Bible that people read, which can be a confusing saying. But like, if you're the only representative of Jesus, of the gospel that someone encounters, and then you're over here whining and complaining all the time, it's not really going to reflect the character of Jesus very well. They're not going to see his spirit
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
you if you're acting that way.
Yeah.
So what helps you guys keep complaining back or whining, whichever term you're grumbling? There's many, murmuring, whichever one you want to pick. But how do you keep it from spilling over, like when you feel it in your heart and you're like, go to speak? Because I feel like most of the time I don't even realize I'm doing it until I'm halfway through. And then I'm like, Or actually, this just happened to me recently and it was really convicting. I was kind of complaining about something and the other person had like the total godly perspective. And they're like, or like, I mean, at the same time, da 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 da. And I was like,
Oh,
you're so right. I totally expected them to just be like, oh, I agree. Like, this is, what
that's
I
the
mean?
worst.
Yeah. And then they said they were like so positive, and I was like, I'm so ungodly.
Yeah.
You're so right, man. Oh, yeah.
But it was good. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, this person just like, in a very kind way, like it wouldn't even really feel like a correction. It just felt like, is that really the perspective we should have, kind of? But how do we catch it before it spills out?
I feel like I always talk about my mom. Maybe I should send these episodes to her. But like one thing my mom said when I was growing up, which at the time, you're a kid and it's like super annoying. You're like, oh, Mom, gosh, like I know you're right, but I hate it. Or like, so she would say like, if you're complaining about something, like, I don't know her exact words, but basically she said like, you shouldn't complain about something unless you're going to actually take action to fix it. And I was like, oh, well, whatever, Mom. Anyways, but now I totally agree. I'm like, if there's an issue that you're dealing with and you're genuinely complaining because you don't like it, like, are you going to be the one to go and fix it? Or are you just going to be there and complain and
Just
make it
yap
worse?
about it.
Yeah, you're just going to yap
Yapping
about
about
it.
something complaining wise is so much more fun than actually fixing it.
I know, but
so
like,
true.
but,
Just
like,
talking to other people, getting their validation, like,
Yes.
oh man, that's a terrible
yeah,
situation.
we all hate this one thing. It's fun to
Right.
hate stuff
Yeah.
sometimes, It's like
We've
we
talked
all
about that
like
before.
don't like this one thing and it's the worst, and
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I always think of my mom saying like, "Well, are you going to be part of the problem or part of the solution?"
Mm.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't want to be the problem. So I think about my mom. Short
That's good
answer.
advice. Like finding solutions rather, because also when you're being negative and stuff, like you're not helping anything.
No.
Like it's only tearing people down, and it's not
Yeah.
actually coming up with creative solutions. You know what? Yeah, like it's not, the value add is like zero other than humor, which still isn't, like it's not good humor. So
You could even, I would say it detracts. It makes things worse, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
negative
because
contribution.
normally that's like my main my main growth edge. We'll say it that way.
Yeah.
Is the sarcasm. I'm so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Because it'll be something that I don't even think I actually really care, but then like I'll
you
start
can just
joking.
twist it into like a funny.
Yes,
Yeah, no,
until
I know.
all
I
of
do
a
too.
sudden it's like, this is my Everest. This is my and it's actually like deep down I don't really even care about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then I realize like that is not building people up, not speaking pure lovely just things.
Mm.
It's not beneficial. But also your question, Emma, like how do I catch it before? I don't think I normally do. Like I was genuinely thinking about it and I was like, nope, I actually normally just say it and then afterwards I have to go apologize and be like, hey, sorry, I had a bad attitude about that. That's my bad. But
Yeah.
yeah, I liked what you were saying about the acronym, like going through all of the things about is it actually going to be beneficial?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time it's not.
I feel like this is probably the worst. And I think we were just talking, I was talking about this with someone, it might have been you. I don't remember. But we were saying like, it's the easiest to be mean or something. Like it's easiest to be the worst to the person you're closest to. So I feel like the person that I'm like,
yeah.
it's most easy for me to complain to like my spouse or like for someone, like it would be like your best friend is the person who it's really easy to just go and like yap and complain and be like,
Yeah.
you know, even if it's about something that they did, like it's easiest to harp on them because you're the closest to them.
Yeah.
So I struggle the most with that is like complaining to my spouse.
Also, I think girls are super guilty of like, well, I just needed to vent. Like, I just had to get it out.
Yeah.
And it's like, but do you actually, or are you just spewing a bunch of negativity that everybody has to listen to? Because I feel like the verses, actually, there's a verse that talks about not venting.
Maybe you
Is
should
it on
take it to
here?
God.
I think it's in Proverbs where it's like, it basically says like, the foolish man just like vents his anger as soon as he feels it, which is so convicting. I'm like, well,
if you guys have read Proverbs, being called foolish is like the worst.
it's the worst.
So
like that's
brutal.
the worst thing you could get out of Proverbs is being the fool.
I saw a video once and it was like when you're reading Proverbs and you're starting to feel like your attributes more aligned with the fool than the wise woman or something. And they were like, I was like, it'd be like that sometimes though.
Yeah.
But like, we don't need to vent all of our feelings as soon as we feel them. Like we did a whole episode on self-control and it's a topic I really appreciate and feel convicted about. But having the self-control to not speak when you're frustrated and not speak when you're complaining and whining when things aren't going your way.
Yeah. Or I would say like especially not to other like humans. I don't know, that's weird. But like in the Bible we see people lamenting and like when they're really genuinely struggling and they are feeling those deep, strong emotions, what do they do with it? They take it to God. They lament. Book of the Bible called Lamentations.
It's true.
What are the Psalms? We have a large portion of them that are laments.
Yeah.
So it's biblical to, but they're not, I wouldn't call it complaining. Like they're just,
I mean, there's definitely some whining to God in the
there's
Bible.
a little bit of whining to the Lord there, but like,
and I've been there too. I've whined.
Yeah.
hey,
I can think of a few times.
if you have to get it out, take it to God, not other people. Because with other people, we like just, it like stews and becomes worse. But taking it to God, like, number one, you start and you're like, this is the worst, this sucks. And then you're like, but God, I still will praise you. Like, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. You know, like,
Also, like, complaining is very contagious. So, like, once you start complaining to other people, they just start too. And then
so
it doesn't
true.
matter, like, how many positives does it take to make up a negative? So many. Like, someone can complain about something, but even if they say, like, 3 things they like, you still remember the negative, not the 3 things they liked. I don't know why it's more, like, it sounds bad to say, like, negativity is more powerful than positivity. But it just seems like, do you get what I'm saying?
Psychologically, it stands out.
Yeah.
There's
it
got to
stands
be
out.
something with that.
Probably. I don't know if it's in nature or just
I was gonna say
like
sin
problem solving.
Sin in general, no matter what it is just like a virus. Like it just spreads so
It's like a little
fast
leech.
and takes over everything. So because it's natural to us. So yeah.
All right. Philippians 2:14-15 says, "Do all things without grumbling or disputing, that you may be blameless and innocent children of God." How can we live that out? All things? Question mark. Like I wrote out specifically, doing all things without grumbling or complaining. All of them. Ain't no time to complain. How do we do that?
You know what really gets me? That verse that talks about the cloud of witnesses watching us.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Imagine I'm down here like, oh my gosh, bad. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example of something that I complain about. For some reason right now, I can't think of any of it, but I don't know. Doing taxes. That's a good one. Well, you guys don't do taxes. You're in high school. Or something. I don't know. Just something I complain about that's so mild. And then I just
My
think
teacher assigned so much homework this week.
Yeah, exactly. Or I don't even know what. Like, I'm so busy. Or no. The cloud of witnesses is literally like, bro, they sawed me in half.
Yeah,
Like,
no, for real.
You be suffering? Really? You're working outside because it's outside work day?
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Getting a little sweaty out there.
A
in the
little
Florida
sweaty?
heat.
Yeah. I died in a coliseum by lions and I was pregnant. Like, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. That happened. That's a real story.
I know. I
know.
feel bad that I'm laughing.
No. And so it's like, that is really humbling. Like, compared, even just thinking how privileged. I always say, God knew that I was not built to be a Middle Ages girly. He knew I wanted ibuprofen. Like, he put me in the 21st century because I'm weak. It's not a strength. You know what I'm saying? I'm being genuine here, dude. Even 100 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
when you look at what those people went through, and then I'm up here complaining because they got my order wrong and I'm not brave enough to go tell them.
Yeah.
Good thing I married someone who's brave enough to tell them. That's what you do for Tim, right?
Probably,
No,
yeah.
we just don't. He just doesn't like it when you ask them to do.
No, I always feel so bad. I always apologize. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And Joel's
Yeah.
like, this drink got made wrong. I'm like, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, see, I'm Joel in that situation.
Yeah. There's always got to be one. You're not taking the drink back.
No. Nope. I would drink mud water.
Yummy. Thanks. You got it right. That's what I asked for.
You knew better than I did, honestly.
So getting perspective that way, sometimes I think about what other people have suffered for the gospel. And then I'm just like, not even for the gospel. It's just like ordinary life that I'm complaining about. That's
Starbucks got my
unfortunate.
order wrong. They put too much ice in it.
And it's also, this is something, I don't know why I randomly think about this, but like, people always say, like, if Jesus was in the room, and we know that he's everywhere, always watching. But I also sometimes am like, what if everyone has an assigned guardian angel? What does mine think of me? Like, what report is he sending back about how I'm doing in my life?
What's the yearly evaluation?
Yeah. Hopefully it's getting better. I'm not really sure. Some areas might be getting worse. But I think this is definitely something where I'm like, ooh.
You think they watched you fall and they were like, oh,
They were like, dang it, I got a clumsy one. That's tough.
we got a tripper.
No, working overtime that day for real. But yeah, that is something that I think about. Like, even the things that aren't seen, that I'm like, well, the Lord still sees me. My guardian angel sees me, and I'm complaining even if it's just in my heart.
The other thing I'm thinking of, because I'm reading in Romans, and in Romans 5, it talks about how all these things happen because of suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. But like, if you're just in the suffering whining, like if you're just sitting there complaining and have a snotty attitude,
You're never gonna.
Schnotty. I like that one.
It's not snotty, it's schnotty.
Snotty.
But being for real, I've been there. You probably have too. You guys, I'm sure, have. Then there's like no growth edge there. You're just chilling at the first step. You're never getting past it because you're not praising God through it. You're not whatever it is. And like I said, it's pretty mild things too. So.
I mean, homies were chilling in prison and they were singing praises to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Are we kidding? And
The way I would have been complaining if I was another prisoner in there, I'd have been like, that doofus, I want to sleep.
Doofus.
But yeah, that's what I would. It's convicting.
What are some harmless ways that we tend to complain without realizing it? I think we talked. Wow, I am stuttering so bad today. I'm so sorry. We talked about a few of them, like venting or sarcasm. What are some other things that you can think of? Maybe that would.
The passive aggressive comments.
Oh,
Tough. You know,
So
when it's
tough.
like you're trying to be like you're subtly like stabbing someone, it's like
Or even just facial
Yeah.
expressions. Someone else is
Ooh.
complaining about something and you're like, you know what I mean? Like you can say a lot with just a pursed lip and an
Dang.
eye move.
Yeah.
ain't that the truth? I don't know. I'm trying to think of the one that I struggle with the most. I don't know. Probably like the passive aggressive or like just being like subtle, where I like maybe it's hard to tell that I'm complaining or like being angry about something, but like in my heart, I know that I am.
I feel like mine is probably like trying to turn it into humor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because like it is funny. Like I also laugh when other people like turn bad situations into like complaining humor.
yeah.
But like it's still not really positive. Like I don't think it's always wrong, but I think that line is like razor thin,
Mm-hmm.
which I also think with sarcasm. Like I've been hurt by other people's sarcasm before.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I feel like and that's something that can be kind of hard to tell when is someone being sarcastic. So I've definitely hurt other people's feelings when I was being sarcastic and they didn't know.
Yeah.
That's
Which to me,
true.
I'm like, "Okay, you can't tell my different, like, to me, it's obvious because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
me,
yeah.
you know, I know my intentions.
Right.
So I'm like, is it really worth the risk?
Yeah. Well, like,
Probably not, but then
sometimes-
I'm still guilty of doing it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
she said, yeah, you are.
No, I was
No.
great. No,
I
no,
know,
I'm
I
not
know.
saying that about you.
No, I know.
I had to apologize to someone the other day because they weren't even there, but me and another friend were just like stacking jokes on jokes. You know how it just built, the sarcasm just builds and builds until the situation is like totally not even actually what happened. And then I felt bad about it later. And I was like, man, we really shouldn't have been like joking like that. So I had to go to them and be like, I'm so sorry. Like it is not worth. And I had to say it out loud to their face, which was more, this sounds selfish, but it was more of like a teaching moment, I feel like, for me
You're like, shame myself.
in my apology to own it and say, I'm really sorry that we were joking like this. Even though they didn't care, they thought it was funny too. But I was like, it is not worth a laugh or a smile or like someone being like, haha, she's so funny, whatever. Like, it's not worth it at someone else's expense.
Duh.
And it's also not worth it to, even like if you're tearing down yourself, like none of that is beneficial. And even if it's a laugh, because I think sometimes I'll weigh, I mean, you were talking about, excuse me, earlier, like how do you catch yourself before you're talking about it or whatever. And sometimes I do think about like a joke before I say it. And then I look at the room, you know, you survey, like, are these people like sarcastic people? Can I joke with them? And then I'm like, yeah, they're sarcastic, so I can make the joke. Well, it doesn't really work that way. Like, if it's not uplifting, it doesn't really matter who you're with. And also, you never know, like you were saying, how your words are going to impact people. And overall, whether you fully meant it or not, there's some truth somewhere in there about the joke that you're saying. And that's why it's relatable and that's why it's funny.
Yeah.
That's why everyone gets it. It's because
true.
there's something in there that might be a little bit true, even if it's twisted.
Yeah.
So I think that's an area that I definitely need to work on. But also, like when you do think of those jokes or passive aggressive comments or whatever, like there's other ways. Like if everyone is having a hard time, there's other ways to uplift people than just like cracking a joke about how bad the situation is.
There's other jokes. Like there's a place for humor maybe in those moments, but it doesn't have to be humor at the expense of like complaining or like making fun of how bad it is. Like you
Yeah.
can
Sometimes
turn it
though,
around.
sorry, I didn't mean
sometimes.
to interrupt you. Sometimes though, I think sometimes the humor can actually like take some of the negativity out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's really a balance of like motives and how you use it. Like there is a place I think sometimes in like tough situations. I'm thinking mostly of like when you're on a mission trip and you're a leader to be like, okay, guys, like this is difficult.
Can we
Like
do
this
an
does kind of
example?
stink. Okay, let's give an example.
we get an
See, already
example?
tone of voice, you can already hear it coming.
Oh.
We had recently, we were flying and the airline really messed things up. And I was in the airport. I've been awake for like 23 hours with 1 hour nap.
Oof.
And let me tell you, I was ready.
Not a happy camper.
No, I was not a happy camper. I was a Karen. And so I said, I'm going to stay here while you go talk to the airline, dear husband, because if I have my way, we'll be on a first class hotel, like flying in a hotel. But I think sometimes in those situations, if you have a group of people, like you can be like, guys, I know you're really tired. Like this really does stink.
Yeah.
But like we're going to get through and it's going to be okay. So like to get some of the positivity in there And maybe to crack a joke like, haha, wouldn't a bed be nice? I don't think is like terrible, like wrong. Sometimes I think it can be uplifting as long as it doesn't like settle there. As long as you use that humor to continue uplifting. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I could be wrong though.
Yeah. I think
it's a thin line. You got to be careful.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
I think it's like what you were saying earlier. Like, it's so close that you really have to watch yourself. Because most of the time, I'm thinking about personally the jokes I make. We're far from that. Like, I just totally commit to exaggerating the situation way over what's actually happening.
Which is exaggerating is like goes right hand in hand with complaining.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I exaggerate everything. I was telling a story once and they were like, there's no way that happened like that. Like, there's no way it was actually that bad. And I was like, well, no, I was for the story. You know? Like, I wasn't actually, I didn't actually mean it. But that's what, what you were saying about people not knowing your humor. Mm-hmm. I feel the same way about storytelling.
Yes.
Because, like, I could be like, oh my goodness, that was like the longest, for example, walking from here to the Sojourner building. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was trekking across the Sahara to get, And it's like, it's actually really not that far. And I'm like, well, I was just joking. Like, I didn't actually mean, I'm okay. Like, it really wasn't that bad. I just, to make people laugh when you hear the story or to make,
you do a joke like that. And I don't know if you guys have seen Guardians of the Galaxy, but Drax, who like doesn't get any of those kind of jokes, where he's like, this not as far as the Sahara.
Yeah.
You would die if it was as
When it
long
takes
as
you like
that.
completely literally.
Yeah, 100% serious. They interpret everything as like 100%
Yes.
literal, and they're like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, well,
yeah.
no, I didn't mean it. Like, yeah.
I've had
So
that happen
funny.
to me before, and then I felt so over dramatic, and I was like, no, but I was just doing it to like be a joke. I didn't actually mean it.
It was just for the joke,
It
man.
was just for the joke.
Okay, I have a question that is kind of off of this question, but it's also not like completely. I don't see it on here. But how do we discern the line between honesty and complaining? And how do we discern the line between like toxic positivity and like trying not to be negative? Do you know what I mean by toxic positivity?
No, I was gonna ask you
Like
to define.
overcompensating.
Yeah, like nothing can ever be wrong. Like if you are ever upset about something or like other things, like you just have the wrong attitude. You need to be more positive. It's like the whole like put on a smile. Like
It's just gaslighting yourself.
yeah, like yeah, it is. Or gaslighting other people. Like
Yeah.
it's wrong to be upset or anything, which isn't true. It's like how do we discern like are we being honest about a situation or are we just complaining or are we being toxically positive? Like how do we discern that?
I really wish there's like an exercise we did in school at college where we like to like debrief a situation that had happened, and specifically like a negative situation, and they had like specific steps of like you're supposed to like write down as much as you can remember like the actual things, events that happened, and then you're supposed to process, well, how did that make me feel, so then you're like writing one thing that's like literally what exactly happened, like in time order as best as you can remember. And then you're supposed to debrief, like, well, what did that make me feel and why did I feel like that? So where you're, like, processing both the literal events, but then also the emotional impact that it had. Because I feel like that can, like, wrap up both. Like, that can help you be more honest as to debrief. What happened? How'd that make me feel? Because how you feel is going to impact, like, your complaining level.
Yeah. Going off of what you said, I also think if you're not exaggerating, like you're genuinely saying the situation and not exaggerating it, that also is probably a pointer that you're just being honest. Especially if it's someone who, not everything that are problems, you can't solve them. So sometimes you have to take problems that you're experiencing to someone in authority over you, maybe your parents, your teacher, or your youth pastor, whatever, and be honest and say, this is the situation. And like, what solutions do you have? So I think being like solution focused as well as not exaggerating helps it to not be complaining.
Yeah.
Because sometimes things need to be addressed. Like, you don't need to suffer in silence about certain things. Like, there are things that you need to take to people. In fact, it would almost be wrong to not.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree that I think a lot of times, even when you think about apologizing to someone, like, you don't go into that situation and be like, you did this, you did that, you did blah, 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 blah.
Oh, like not accusatory.
Like if you're trying to explain a situation honestly about what exactly happened, how it made you feel, all the things, talk about your role, like what happened with you. Well, I did this. And then this happened. I did this, and then this happened, and it made me feel this way. And now I'm coming to you to ask what I need to do to help the situation, or, whatever it may be. But that's something that I feel like has helped me a lot, is because normally, even if it does need to be addressed with a higher authority, I'll just use the school, for example. Like, if there was drama within the school and I had to go to our coordinator, Emily, and be like, which, praise God, haven't had to do that with myself, so praise the Lord. But if that were to happen, then you just need to talk about your involvement and, like, how that made you feel, and asking for advice on how to handle that. You don't need to throw everyone else. Like, you don't need to try and explain their intent behind what they did.
Yeah. Like, take ownership for yourself. You can only control yourself. You can't control what other people do. And don't complain about the things you can't control.
Yeah. And just say, like, how it made you feel. Don't try and twist their words to be like, well, they said blah, 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 blah.
They said that they hate me. Like,
Yeah, it's like, they didn't.
They probably actually, like, no, they didn't. They just said that what you did made them upset. That doesn't mean they hate you. Like,
Yeah, don't put words in people's mouth.
how does complaining affect the people around us? Whether it's a friend group, a classroom, or even online, what kind of atmosphere does it create?
Oh.
Bad one. Tell you that.
It
Negative.
makes me think of track in high school. I remember one of the girls was telling, like, she was like, when people ask me what my main event is in track, I always tell them complaining, which was, like, hilarious. But also, like, why are we complaining? Like, we signed up for the sport.
Yeah.
Like, we signed up for the sport. So why are we complaining that our coach is trying to condition us so that we run faster? We don't need to be complaining. Now, we did complain. We complained? Oh my gosh, I remember complaining. Like, they put you in a race you don't want to run. You're like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe they put me in the 400-meter dash. This is the absolute worst race. Like, it doesn't get worse than this. Which is true. It is the worst race. But, like, come on. One of them, I remember a girl next to me in one of the lanes. She's like, yeah, my coach put me in here, and I hate this race, so I'm jogging it out. She's like, I'm not running this. She's like, I'm jogging. I'm not sprinting. I remember thinking, like, okay, if I don't beat her, this is bad.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I did beat her, so.
Hey, nice.
But she wasn't trying, so.
Well,
Anyways.
was she the only one you beat, or?
No, I think I beat a few of them. I beat a few of them.
Nice. Good job.
But I wasn't good at the 400-meter dash.
Well, hey, I don't.
It takes a special kind of human to do that race.
I don't do any running.
And I wasn't that type. Even Usain Bolt, the fastest man alive, won't do it. You know, he said that on an interview. He said, "No, I'm not. I won't do the 400-meter dash." He said,
so
"I'm
funny.
too afraid of the training." He's like, "That race is too painful."
Oh my goodness.
Well, why do we do it?
I don't know.
Just because?
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, but like that's I think probably a common situation in sports, like complaining against your coach, which is just going to bring like disunity, negativity, and then people aren't going to do their best. And like we're called to do our best, all to the glory of God. And so like because of complaining, they didn't run their best.
They made themselves worse because they complained.
Yeah, they were like, yeah,
we literally make ourselves worse when we complain.
and others too.
Oh.
I think we kind of talked about it earlier. It's just, it spreads so fast. It tears people down. It totally changes the
Vibe.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was creepy.
Oh, wow. Look at us.
Look at us.
It's like the lie snowball thingy. I don't know if you guys saw that one episode of VeggieTales where it was like the lie started as like really tiny and then like he kept lying and it like kept growing and growing and it was like you can't hide it anymore, you know? And so then I feel like complaining, it kind of snowballs that same way,
yeah.
you know, where like you
I
start
agree.
and you're like, man, that was the worst. And then it's like not only you, but now like your buddy on the right and your buddy on the left and you're all like just continuing to
Yeah.
complain and it just grows and snowballs.
And that can really hurt relationships with people.
Yeah.
Like, really can. Like, you can really damage people's relationships because you complained and then encourage other people to complain and it turned into a whole thing.
Yeah. Don't make it a whole thing.
I literally had, it was Wednesday. It was on outside work day. I was telling another staff lady, Delaney, love her so much. We were carrying we were moving all of the poles for the big top tent, which for those who don't know, it's what we like have our rally services for the boot camp training that we do for our summer mission trips. And they have like these big metal poles that are the support for the tent. Anyways, summer's coming. So we were getting all of those poles unloaded. And the way that I was standing, because we were standing on top of poles, unloading poles, and my back was, I was like hunched over and my back was hurting so bad. But I was like, I can't. I have to like stay strong because the other guy that was in the trailer was doing so well and he wasn't complaining at all. So I was telling Delaney, I was like, yeah, I couldn't complain because Bismarck wasn't complaining. And she was like, so you would have complained if Bismarck complained? And I was like, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was terrible.
It's spread. Yeah.
It's like I was in like ballet first position, bent over, trying to move these heavy metal poles, and he wasn't struggling at all, or at least he didn't show it, because he didn't complain.
Yeah.
Because he's a dude and he was stronger than me, and I was like, I have to be strong. But I was so not having a good time. And I literally said out loud, I was like, yeah, I couldn't complain because Bismarck wasn't complaining. And she was like, but you would have if he was? And I was like, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's just an example of how much, like, he didn't even know that
You had that
by
in your
him-
heart.
yeah, by him holding his tongue, he was keeping me from saying
Yeah.
things I shouldn't say.
It's so true though. Like once the first person complains, it literally just opens the floodgates and everyone else is like, oh, I'm allowed to complain now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I totally agree.
I was
Okay.
like, who made you king? I don't
wow,
know,
this
but
is actually on the same
Great.
topic.
Great, literally excellent transition.
Oh.
Because, well, I was thinking, okay, where is it?
The last question? Is there
Well,
anything
I was
more,
going to
or-
say, like, from the same mouth come blessing and
Mm.
cursing. My brothers, these things ought not to be so. Does a spring pour forth from the same opening both fresh and salt water? And you talked about how, like, when one person complains, it's opening the floodgates. But,
Mhm.
like, your mouth is, like, the opening to the spring. So if the spring of your heart is full of, like, well, I don't know, like, I guess, is salt water good or bad in this and that? Anyways. The point
Bad, yeah,
is,
that's
the
fine.
salt water is like, is your heart filled with like salt water and it's like nasty and like horrible and you're like spewing it out. It's like not drinkable and like just dehydrates and like whatever. Or is it full of fresh water? Because
Mhm.
whatever's in your heart is gonna pour out. Like
Yeah.
your spring, the spring from your heart. You can't spew out salt water in 1 minute and then fresh water the next. Like the spring's not gonna change. It's just gonna stay whatever it is.
I also think it's interesting, like, springs don't take that water back in. Like, it's out there. It's gone. It's
Yeah.
flowing.
Yeah.
Fast.
It's mixed in with everything else. You ain't
Yeah.
getting that back. Your words are the same way. And I think
Mhm.
we have other verses.
Mhm.
There's so many verses on here that I don't think we'll even get to go through all of them
Mhm.
because of how much the Bible talks about taming your tongue and
Yeah.
the power of the words that
Yeah.
you say. Like, is the verse on there about speaking life and death?
Oh, like the
Oh.
power of life and death are in the tongue.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, it's from Proverbs.
That's a good one.
Which
It's not
it's
on
like-
here, but it's a good one.
It's like the same thing. Like, you have the power to speak life or to speak death over a situation, over a person,
Mhm.
whatever's going on. But once you, yeah.
Sorry.
But once that comes out of your mouth, it's gone. Like, there's no
There's
way
no getting it back. You can apologize, but you can't
you
take
can't
those words
undo
back.
the situation.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Springs just made me think of that.
Mhm.
Like,
Like once the words are out there, you can't take them back.
yeah.
Even if you try.
Sucker float away. It's gone.
Yeah.
Or the other analogy is like, can a fig tree bear olives or a grapevine produce figs? No. But like once you have produced the fruit and once it's out, like you can't, like a tree can't suck a fruit back up. Like it's out. You know, it's made it.
And we want to bear like good fruit.
You don't want to
We
bear
wanna
gross
bear-
fruit.
Yeah. Yeah, bitter, like gross.
You don't want
Like
to be a
the
nasty
oranges.
fruit.
Like the oranges in Florida, like the wild oranges. It sounds so like idyllic and beautiful. Like, oh, wild
Orange
oranges.
blossom.
Yeah.
But didn't they used to be?
Oh, they taste horrendous.
They're so bitter.
Oh, the way they attack you in the face is just terrible. It's like
I thought that there was like a thing, like a disease that went through all the wild
I don't
oranges
know
and
what
killed all the good
caused it,
ones.
but
and now
it's
there's only
bad.
bitter.
I just know that's not the type of fruit I want to produce in my life.
No.
Okay, last question. I don't know if it's my turn. I think it might be.
Go for
So I'm going for it. How do we create friend groups or environments where it's normal to speak life and not negativity, especially when everyone else seems to be complaining? This is hard because you don't want to be like the holier than thou person. Like I said, my friend corrected me in a really kind way. Like she didn't make it like pointed or anything. She just had like a different perspective that wasn't complaining, and I was like, wow, it's a really good point. Then I should not have complained about that.
But like bringing it to light, but not shaming your friends.
Yeah.
You know, like being the one taking ownership of yourself, I think, in your own words, and then
Mhm.
that like setting the example
Mm-hmm.
for those around you.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's sinful to say, like, Listen, I'll start out by saying I struggle in the same way. I'm feeling the same way. But on the bright side, X, Y, Z. You know,
Yeah.
like you don't have to give holier than thou vibes just by being like, everything is okay. Everything's gonna be all right. Like you can acknowledge that you're having a hard time. You can acknowledge like this is a tough, like you were talking about with, you know, leading a mission trip or whatever it is, or being in the airport. You can be like, hey, I understand that this is an uncomfortable place to have to spend the night, or we're all tired, or we're all, you know, no one wants to move their luggage again. But here we are. This is what we're going to do. Let's make the best of it. Let's be grateful for the things that we do have.
On the bright side.
Yeah.
Yes.
X,
and
Y,
then
Z.
segue into something
or
positive.
You can also, I think, like, this helps me personally, and I think it probably helps most people. Like, there's a lot of times there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, yeah, it does stink we're sleeping in the airport, but I also know that for breakfast tomorrow, we're having Chick-fil-A biscuit chicken things.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's so
That's
true.
like,
Okay,
give it up
dude.
for Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like those little rewards, dude, they mean so much. So
yeah.
those things, I think, like, on the bright side, you know what?
Yeah.
This, or like, I don't know. Yeah. I think trying to look at the bright side while still acknowledging if it's a hard situation. Like, if
Yeah.
everyone's just exaggerating, being dramatic, then like, whatever. But like, if it really is a genuinely difficult situation, like, it would be, I think it'd almost be wrong to like just try and gloss over that. Like, everything's fine. Like, it's all fine. Like, nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
To be like, no, like, this is tough, whatever else. But I'm trying to have a good attitude about it, which has been hard for me. And then also, like, you know, this or this.
Help me help you help us.
Yeah. Basically.
We're in this together.
Together.
All in it. Okay. Sorry.
Also,
Anyway.
I was thinking it too. I was like, this isn't on there, so if we don't have time, it's okay. But I was thinking about, like, where's the line when you're talking about friend groups of, like, doing your best to encourage them, be positive, to change the environment, to change the culture? Where's the line between, like, being a positive influence there or saying these people are, like,
Chronic complainers.
yeah, this is just, like, a toxic, negative environment, and I need to remove myself from this group. Like, how do you discern
You
the
gotta
difference?
see if they're willing to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if they're completely unwilling and they're like, no, I'm gonna. Like, what's the thing? Okay. This is gonna be a gross example, guys, and I'm gonna apologize already, but it's in the
Okay, I'm
Bible.
afraid.
The dog that returns to its vomit.
Oh.
Mm.
There you go. Sorry, I apologize.
There you go.
I tried, but hey,
It's
I
in the
had
Bible.
it's in the Bible. It's real. Or like the dog returning to its vomit. Like, it literally is. You know,
You don't have to describe a word.
I don't know. Am I trying? Are you capturing the picture that I'm trying to say here?
No,
though?
believe me,
Like,
I see it actively.
but like the analogy that I'm trying to convey is that, like, are they willing to turn around and to go away from the complaining, or are they like locked in and they
Yeah.
want to continue to complain and they want to continue to stay in that? Like, I think that's the.
I think also, like, take stock of how you feel after hanging out with them. Like, I've had situations where people were so negative and complaining that after I hung out with them, I felt so discouraged
Yeah.
every time. And I was like, this just isn't beneficial. And it's really hard to try and, like, turn those relationships, conversations to be more positive. I try, but a lot of times I walk away feeling like I also sinned because it's so easy to complain when other people are complaining.
It's hard.
And so that's a toughie. I don't really, like, it's really hard discerning how to handle that and continue relationships with people that you care about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and on the flip side too, like, you can tell the people. We have a student here, Ashley, love her so much.
Oh my gosh.
She's like one of the most positive people that I've ever met in my entire life. And in a genuinely encouraging way. She gave me a sticky note the other day that says, "You got this, oh yeah." And she says it all the time. Whenever she's like, "You got this, oh yeah, oh yeah." And so I have a little sticky note now on my desk that's like, "You got this, oh yeah." And so
Love
I
that.
can, like, hear her in my head. It's my guardian angel keeping me accountable, and Ashley. But, like, you can tell the effect that it has on people. Like, in a genuinely unfortunate situation, I know if Ashley's there, everyone is like, "We got this. We
Yeah.
can do this."
You're
Yeah.
encouraged.
Like, you can be that person for other people. And Ashley's just such an inspiration to me because she's
Yeah.
like, I noticed one day that I really complained a lot and I wanted to stop doing that. So I did. And I was like,
Wow.
queen.
Literally.
I was like, she's like, my brain said to me, like, I have some things I could complain about, but no, I said no, we're not doing that. I was like, that's so
And I
convicting
just-
because my brain also tells that to me. Like, I have some things I could complain about,
And
I'm
then
like,
I do.
and then I do, yeah, and then I go, great idea, brain.
yeah.
Now that you mention
Thank
it,
you for
I
bringing
would
that
like
up.
to voice this inconvenience, mild
Oh.
inconvenience that I had yesterday.
Yeah, it's just like what it goes back to, like, you got the power. Like, you have the power to be a positive influence as well in those groups.
Yeah,
But I think, yeah, you do have to discern, like, are these people just continually tearing each other down and they're not wanting to grow and they're not in that area?
Yeah.
If so, you probably need to remove yourself.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I don't know, there's kind of two things I wanted to say. But the first one is that, like, especially when you're in a friend group and it is, like, all negative, one thing, especially with teams or, like, other groups of people, sometimes it's easier to just, like, acknowledge and then redirect than trying to, like, get everyone to start being encouraging. Because,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the first
just
time,
move on.
the first time that everybody's, like, all complaining, like, it's our attitude. It's natural for us to want to complain. Like, it's going to be really hard for you to get all 10 of those people to change their hearts.
yeah.
Like that. Like, you're going
In
to have
unison,
a really hard
everyone's
time
on
doing
their
that.
own timeline of
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
But instead, if you're like, guys, I know the situation sucks, but instead let's focus on, let's play a game or, like, let's,
yeah,
sing a song or whatever, just to get their minds off of what they're complaining about. Like, this is bad, but, like, that's what I do if I'm watching kids, like, and they're really upset or angry or whatever.
No,
Like,
redirection is a powerful tool.
Hey,
dude.
all right, sorry
classic.
you're upset about this. Let's
Yeah.
go do this instead.
Let's go get a drink of water. The amount of times I've said that at, like, vacation Bible school or
Like little kids.
yeah, they'll be, like, crying because, Bobby took their crayon.
Yeah,
And then it's like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Should we go take a walk and get a drink of water? And they're like, yeah. And then they don't
and then by the time
remember.
they come back, they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes we need to do that with ourselves as adults.
true.
Sometimes I need to be like, okay, I need to go take a drink of water. Stop getting
I
upset.
call it putting
I need-
myself in a timeout.
Literally.
Yeah.
Like, I know if I can't say something nice, that's a new term I started telling myself. I'm like, okay, Emma, you're in timeout. Like, you're not talking to anybody.
You're done.
You're done. You're in timeout.
Yeah.
Go stand in the corner. You're in timeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also, if you notice, like, if you're in a group and you can tell that someone is, like, trying their darndest to change the vibe, change the atmosphere, change the topic, whatever, help them out.
Yeah, dude.
Because there's sometimes where I'm sitting there, like, feeling trapped. Like, how do I
like, how do I walk
change
this
it?
back?
How do
yeah,
I-
yeah.
yeah. And then someone else will think of a beautiful transition into something else. And I'm like, yes.
Let's
Yes.
do it.
So then help them.
the
Work
backer.
work
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's really good.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope this was an encouragement to you as you journey through the topic of complaining and whining and trying to root that out of yourself. We're trying to, so we're right there with you. We want to thank our sponsors, Team Missions International. They take teens on mission trips, but they do a lot of other things too. So if you're interested in volunteering or leading a team or spring break mission trips for 2026, you can learn more at teammissions.org. And if you want to learn more about Holy Devoted, you can go to our Instagram at holy.devoted.podcast. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe. If you're feeling really generous, write us a review, comment below any of the things. We're
Ring
grateful.
the bell.
Ring the bell. Isn't that what
You
they
look
would
like
say?
you've always wanted to say that. Ring the bell.
I just
Ring
thought,
the bell.
ring the bell, guys. Ring the bell.
Okay,
It would
there you
make
go.
me happy.
Thanks so much for watching.